Now, year 2000 carried over. After 1999 was just a month later in February. I was being angry. I bought me a gun. I said, listen this many times, I'm going to defend myself. And that way they'll know I ain't lying. They keep saying, hiding what they done. I said, I will do this and do that. And they sent a friend of mine, which was James, and he came up and was set me up there. And when I fled this time, I want to say this here, when I fled this time, I went to Danville, Illinois. But after I got to Danville, Illinois, this was a dark cloud that I didn't know what was significant of this would chase me out of Pine Bluff, which was this dream that God had gave me. I went to Danville, Illinois, fled east, just like it said this was. And I got there in Danville, Illinois, in the year of 2001, before the knocking down of the Twin Tower Trade Center buildings. There was a young lady of the white race. As I was rebelling again, going to the racetrack again to gamble at the horse off-track betting in Danville, Illinois, while I was driving around the noon hour, going east on Old Main and Street in Danville, Illinois, a white female came off Burrow Road. I'd seen the vehicle jump up in the air on top of Burrow Road, but by me not being familiar with this area in this city, it jumped up and it veered off to the right, its right, and disappeared. And I said, gosh, the way the half-past that coming, what caused it to veer off? And as I went past that blind hill that didn't have no sign that said there was a road, blind road there, when I was looking for this vehicle, I was driving 33 miles an hour. It broke down to 25 miles an hour. And when I saw this vehicle, it was charging out there to Main Street, which just teed into this here, which was so hid coming out behind a blinded hill. And I saw the speed of this vehicle driving so fast that it was not going to stop. And as I applied my brakes, in a very split second, I broadside this vehicle. It was a white female, young white female, who perished in this here and died. Well, found out that this here had been happening there a long time, but they had blamed the black people, and they kept telling me when they had an inquest, they ruled in my favor, but they created a situation where they could come back and lie and convict me. But what the people told me there was, they said, you can't win here in Danville, Illinois if you black. You just can't win. It's stacked against you. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. She said, I'm surprised they ruled in your favor. So as I said, I think I'm going to get away with this here. And as I remember when I was a child and I saw a hill that the children we used to call the hump, that they drove real fast and hit this hump and goes up on Highway 79 east, the vehicle go up and they would lose control. That was when I was a child, 50 years ago. And the people was having accidents there until they cut the hill now. It was enticing young man. And I looked up there after I got injured and then had to go to the hospital, and I tore my vehicle up. Well, I looked, there was serving the same effect. I said, this is why they're having so many accidents here. They go and they hit that ditch, that sink, which they was used to drain the water from the skating rink over there. They were driving by, being a deep sink in the road. They hit there, and as they come out the sink, the vehicle go airborne, and when it come out airborne, it land on the ground. Then make a sharp right hand curve, and when they make that sharp right hand curve after they drop down, they had to navigate them and stop for the stop sign, and all who couldn't do this, depending on the speed, they run out there in front of traffic, and someone was getting killed. This was a game of Russian roulette. And as I explained this stuff to it, they had been blaming black people, they said, alleged, when they go through there and do that, and then people get all the accident, and they had been filing this with the Department of Illinois. And Illinois hadn't did anything about this here all this long. And what they did to keep shutting my mouth was, since I was filing on this here and showing these things, I couldn't get no lawyer representative. They put a hit out on me. little did I know, the Blackwater. But God said, I went there and I met the wolves. And once I met these wolves here, the wolves chased me back to the east. And it was told to me they were going to put a hit out on me and they was going to kill me. It didn't matter how much I run. Once I started running, they were going to kill me. This is what it was. I didn't know they had hired guns called Blackwater. I was forced back to Ottawa County, Oklahoma, when they set the hit out on me. And the two black cars, those small black cars, as I turned coming down to Fayetteville, I was going to move back to Fayetteville after it was told me this. They chased me. It was late that night. They chased me out of civilization, and the only way I got to escape them, I didn't have nothing to lose, and God had to be with me. I had to pass a large convoy of cars on a rural roadway, which didn't have a two-lane, one going and the other coming, one going west and the other coming east. And when I gets around them by them having something to lose, they wouldn't do what I did, and I went there and lost control of my vehicle, and I stayed in the wilderness from July 2nd, 2002 to July 6th until I was with no food, no water, until I had to come out. And when I came out and started falling by the thing because I was near starvation, then God delivered me because the people called on their cell phone and told them, and I told the police who I was and what happened. And the first thing they want to know when they talk to me, how did my house catch on fire in Pine Bluff? How did they know this? That means it was a hit out on me. So what this did was, I didn't know there was a force called Blackwater. So if there's a force called Blackwater, and they waged, and found out it was hired by the government, this proved that this year, if God gave me this, and I didn't know what was behind this entire cloud, these white-looking clouds, man, was the Justice Department of the United States of America. In the daytime, they had a secret force, and they were the one exposing me to this evil force by using the same technology they use to run down, chase down criminals to let them know where I was at all times. This is what it was. And so each time, but I said, this here was tearing down one. Every time I ran plays, the technology they used to hunt down criminals, they was running, chasing, some man. Well, they did it so. Nobody believed in me. And I continued to speak concerning the matter, and he had gave me the vision of the knocking down the Twin Tower Trade Center building while I was in year of 2000, in November 2000. But I won't get to that today. So what this tells us is, if this force they got to do this, then what they're talking about, if these people take on it, Mark, they're going to do greater things against them. Because I was an innocent man, just done the will of God. God called me. So this is why it was essential that I take and make this DVD today to show you how it was. And so when I did this here, I caught wings. I saw this here. I took the caught wings when I was in Northwest Arkansas Regional Airport, and I flew back and went to Florida, where my daughter lived. And from there, they attacked me there in the hospital and in my apartment, and they made an attempt on my life, but once again in a veteran medical center there in Florida. So it was God who delivered me and brought me out and protect me. This was significant. This vision came true when I went. They forced me out of Pine Bluff the year 1990, and this and returned, and I went back and I went and escaped. But now, after hiding and being including, because I became a fear of everybody that I associate myself to, because out of their fear, they would have to do what these people say do. Why did I say this here? Because of what's at hand today over there in the